Yeah. Okay. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Bill Soft. I'm from central Alabama and just got off the plane actually. Company I work for bought another company here in town and I'm here to help them with the acquisition and I'll probably be here for quite a while. So, and I like to fly fish where I'm from and figure while I'm in town, I can find some water and after work, maybe jump on a little river or something. So,
Good.
plenty of water, right? Which end from, Prattville?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right, how about there? Yeah. YouTube working there.
Into some reports, our secretary, Rich.
Rich is not here tonight. He is in Honduras.
Yeah, and Cindy's not here on the treasury, so I know we have, 3 new members that we, added this past month. 2 returnees and a new member, so. Next, we have mixed bag. Bill,
Yes, I'm getting there. Hang on. You called on me too soon. So, yeah, come back to me just a second.
Okay, well, guess what, you're next to the fly time for July.
Peanut envy. The
Peanut
peanut envy. We're gonna work on articulation.
Okay.
Piece.
Articulation.
We have 100 in mixed bag. We have 154 entries, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, already exceeds the last year total. We have a new up and come Aaron Bourne, a new member this year, lives near Harrisonburg. Is in second place with 22. Chris is in the lead with 24. I'm in third with 17. Jim, you have 15, is it 15? And I believe your grandson is in fifth.
Noah has 13 and the other grandson has 9. I think that's where the top. I'm
So,
gonna quit taking it.
Some ways to catch up, but here's the good news, even if you don't catch up to Aaron and Chris, top of the leaderboard, just remember that the consolation drawing was expanded 2 years ago. We have over a dozen prizes in the consolation drawing, and for every entry that you make, you can enter into the consolation drawing. So try to get as many as you can into the mixed bag. Even if you don't win, you can win some really nice stuff in the consolation drawing, right?
well, some of the nicest prizes, I think we had 2 rods last year, several reels, fly tying stuff. Yeah, we had a lot
It's
of,
almost better for me not to win.
yeah.
So, okay, and then next month, as far as program meeting, I'm gonna be back from ICAST in Orlando, the world's largest trade show, and I'll be talking about what's new in sport and fishing, as well as what's some new products I've seen, good and bad. Already I can tell you, this is gonna be a banner year for new rods and reels in fly fishing processes. And also some new kayaks that have just come out, like in the last couple of months. In fact, I got to see one last weekend for the very first Hobie Quest. That came back, Hobie came back with Hobie Quest, and it's a fantastic kayak. I got to test it out, and so there'll be some interesting things, for sure. A couple of the items from our last board meeting, the board voted unanimously to institute an online payment system. So we're going to be working on that probably August, September, Bill, implement in the benefits, of course, of convenience, and also this, higher retention membership when we have online renewals and joins. But the thing that I didn't think about is the ability to renew in time for the participation in the mixed bag. Because I know Atlantic Kayak Fishing Club, like us, they have a year-long contest that begins on January 1st. And usually I'm out there fishing and I'm realizing, oh, this is the time to catch big bass in the middle of January. But we haven't had a meeting yet. It's kind of like us, they don't have their meetings till the end of the month. And so I want to renew. Obviously, I won't be able to do the payment, go write a check, and put the form in. It's so much easier just to go online and do it. And we'll have like a $2 service charge in addition to membership fee. So it won't be much, but it'll be, like I said, the convenience factor will make it a lot easier for everybody. The second thing that we talked about, saltwater and warm water committees want to establish an annual destination outing similar to our March Brown trip. Red Stick Fly Fishers in Baton Rouge has a cold water, saltwater, and warm water destination trip every year. That cold water trip is the March Brown trip, much like ours, except I think Carlton's done a fabulous job, and ours surpasses theirs. So kudos to the Carlton and his crew over there. But saltwater and warm water, I'm kind of looking at that. Robert is the warm water committee chairman, and I'm the saltwater committee chairman. We're looking for 2 to 4 committee members for each of those committees. You do not have to be a board member to serve on that committee. So if you're just interested in,
I've got 2 members on saltwater already, I and Ed Jones.
okay, great. And if anybody was interested in helping out with warm water, just let me know. Robert's the man for that. And Robert has a suggestion, an idea for a warm water trip. He's talked about smallmouth related, and I think that would be fabulous. And we're looking at one for saltwater down either Point of Shin or Calcasieu, either one of those 2 locations. There's a couple of events that came to me the past week. I got the invitation for the Salmon Hunting Fishing Day. Of course, we've been doing that for many years. It's Club Reform. And it's always been a great deal for us. This is the earliest I can remember us getting an invitation for it. So we have plenty of time to get names and get details out. That's always the 4th Saturday in September. It's on our calendar right now on the website. And then I got, the very next day, I got an invitation from the Haya Nightingale, who's a member of our club. She's the manager of the Alexandria Farmers Market. And she invited us to participate in their annual Outdoors Day, which is going to be September 24th, which is the week before, the Tuesday before National Hunting Fishing Day. So that'll be here at Jackson Street. I don't know if y'all familiar with the farmers market. It's going to be here on Jackson Street. They have it every Tuesday from 3 to 6 p.m.
So across from Methodist Church.
Yeah. So we've done that before when they had they used to have the outdoors day or outdoor celebration, and it was the hiking club and the local National Forest Service was there. We were there, and it was a good thing. And then pandemic came along, and they haven't done it since, but they're going to have it again on that Tuesday. So that's going to be a busy week because that week we have Monday meeting. We have meeting Monday night. Tuesday we'll have farmers market, and then Saturday National Hunting Fishing Day. Somebody asked me about summer workshop, and we didn't have one scheduled for this year yet. Just to give you an idea, we started that off in 2014. I can't remember who we had or what we did, but 2015 we had Jeff Guerin come and talk about the loom boat and tie some flies. 2016 we had Stephen Robert, and we tied some poppers. We did poppers, hard body poppers. 2017 we had Chris Morris. He talked about the little red. He did some casting, and we also tied some trout flies. 2018 we had Kevin Andrew. He did deer bugs. 2019 we had Roger rod building. 2020 of course was a pandemic, so we didn't have that. In 2021 we had Fly Time 101, and then 2022 we had rod building again, which I instructed with the instruction on there. Last year we didn't have a summer workshop, so it's not too late to have one, but it looks like if we want to do something, it's going to have to be in August, first 4 weeks of August. And I'm open to anything. This is there's something, you know, that we really like to see, we can do it. But we don't have much time. So keep thinking about it. Any other business? Any fishing reports? Oh, boy. Yeah.
We went to, me and Fun, I went to Coach Hill a couple of times last weekend and 3 weeks ago. And we were getting kids, but, nothing, you know, it's just, we had to wait, I had to wait to get out to the bank. And we tried on and wait for that. It's still, I don't know, catfish are right with the browning.
Well, I've been so out of it, vacation, everything else, I haven't had a chance to fish even for teal. But before I left, a week before I left, a young man caught an 11.5 pound bass. I caught teal lake. I know for a fact there's another one double digit out there. So I'm gonna be working out there. Now that I get some time again.
I got one fishing report. I was fishing with a woolly booger that the guy with Lou Gehr's disease sent around, and I tied it under a crease line that I made, which I've never caught anything on. Shortly after that, I'm still fishing with the same rig with the woolly booger about that far below the floating crease line. I got hooked up in some big reeds and stuff, and I had the choice of either waiting or breaking the line. So I took all my stuff off. This is a Marcus Park. I had to take the pants off. Waited out there. All I wasn't worried about. I've never seen an alligator there.
Oh, there are.
I haven't seen any of them. Anyway, I was thinking about snakes. And so naturally I give my phone to my wife and stuff, and she's sitting here taking pictures, and I retrieved the fly. So I'm gonna send that to that guy to send out the woolly boogers.
Mhm.
But I just caught a bass about 14.5 inches long. So the woolly booger worked.
Your mention of the Woolly Booger reminds me, we now have short videos of our, condensed versions of our fly time, not our fly time, but really the flies that we died during the fly time session. Bill's been putting those up on there. So you don't have to sit through an hour and a half of time, the micro jig booger. You can watch it. It's got a 10-minute version out there right now. It's really good too.
Which I did last week.
What's that?
Yeah, I caught a great spot last week.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah, so I guess I was.
You tell us where?
Huh?
GPS?
Indian Creek.
Oh, Indian Creek.
Oh, that's something I bring up that you could use a resource for all that stuff. Go to iNaturalist. And you can look up places where fish are you're looking for. Now, granted, a lot of those posts on are by biologists or grad students that are doing stream surveys. And then they post them on there. But it's a good tool to use. Chris used it, and Bill used it a few times looking for these. On his coffee cup.
What is it?
iNaturalist.
iNaturalist?
It's free. And if you want to go look for a rhinoceros beetle, you can find them around there. That's kind of stuff, everything's on there, but the fishing part is mostly from I guess grad students or biologists doing stream surveys, they log it all in with the call.
It's particularly in Louisiana,
No,
That's all over the country. I talked to a guy at Lebow's in Woodworth Saturday that was coming off the lake. He was conventional gear fisherman, but he caught 10 bass that morning. He said they were starting to come up to the top, kind of school up on. He said they weren't staying up very long, but they're kind of coming up, going right back down. But he still managed to catch 10. So they're getting closer, I think.
yeah, no one called 8 years afternoon on crankbait or there they was using, they would fly. Yeah.
No, but you can catch them on fly. when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
I've caught a
The
lot
boys
of
would be. Those kids quite other.
shad patterns, claws and minnow, take them every time.
Talked to a lady in Lafayette, and they've been down on the weekend fishing at Toledo Bend, Army Rec. And she said that they are informed her that the mercury levels are real high at Toledo Bend. I never heard that. Is that true?
Has been forever.
Really? I didn't know that. So the these guys that are commercial fishermen out there. I mean, is it a health hazard or what?
My wife was DQ,
If you're pregnant and eating.
DQ.
Bass, man?
And she said
Well, they're
a lot of this
those-
mercury, most of this mercury is groundwater. And it just you get runoff and it just concentrates into large reservoirs like that. And so it builds up over time.
But all them,
There-
all those
there-
guys run a little mower, lead.
There's not many places that you can fish that are not like that.
Yeah. But just avoid the biggest fish. That's the main thing, because it builds up more and bigger, the bigger specimens than it does in the small ones.
The Department of Natural Resources, I believe it was them, conservation, for one of them. They used to check every year, different, who commission was that, and but they check for every year till about the early nineties, then they quit checking. And they didn't have any reports at all until, I think it was 3 years ago, they started checking again. So, so you may have it, just didn't know it, or they, ignorance is bliss, I guess. But they got a little bit behind it for that, on the real. That need to do that, and certainly the skin, they say some fish are more susceptible and some, and they can trim the fat off and they don't eat the liver and all that stuff. It's all like fishy man, how to clean.
You gotta eat fish livers 4 times a week. And it's, I think most of us, okay, we hardly eat fish once a week.
You eat fish?
We catch fish.
You eat fish liver?
No,
I've eaten a bunch of bass out
I'm saying-
there, that's probably what's wrong with me.
Keep you alive.
we have a guest speaker tonight. Talon or Talon? Talon Jeppson is the inland fisheries supervisor for Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries. He's a native of Salt Lake City and went to, he got his bachelor's degree at Utah State University. And it stood out to me because I have fished the Logan River next to Utah State over there. And my youngest son Jacob, who went to major league fisheries when he grew up, he did. He said, I'm coming here to college because it's got some big trout in those 3 lakes, those 3 little reservoirs next to the college. So we have that in common. Anyway, he joined Wildlife and Fisheries in 2019 and earned his master's degree from Clemson in Wildlife and Fisheries Biology. And recently he's been in the news for the restocking efforts of largemouth bass in the Red River system. So with not much to do, I can introduce that.
Good evening. Yeah, so, we stock our kind of bread and butter, I guess, is the Florida largemouth bass. That's purely genetic. So with the Red River, I'll kind of get into that, but we partner. So we only are able to stock closed water bodies. The Red River is an open water body, so the Red River puts in money to purchase fish. They get them from American Sport Fish. That's where I meet American Sport Fish, check to make sure their numbers are right, fish look healthy, and we stock the fish out for them. So those fish don't come from our hatchery, but about 42 water bodies get Florida largemouth bass a year. It depends on the year, what the request is from our inland districts. And then this presentation is pretty much just a rundown of what we do at the fish hatchery, our hatchery system for the department. So who are we? Office of Fisheries. We're under Fisheries Management, Inland Fisheries, and then we are kind of our own hatcheries. And then we get a lot of, what we need to stock from our Inland Fisheries Management and the aquatic plant control, what water bodies are going to be the best to get these genes in the water bodies.
I have a question, because I know I've heard that they're trying to get it from through hatchery for salt water. So that would be a separate,
Yeah, I'd probably go under marine, I would imagine. So marine fisheries here, I bet that's where that would land under.
okay,
Now I've heard that's kind of going away. I think a lot of that money was used to create that new aquarium down in Lake Charles. I don't know if you all have heard about that. So living wonder, I don't know what it is. I know we just sent our haul truck today so they can pick up marine fish and bring them to that new facility, so.
You could talk about that later and. What would you, cause I'm in the dark on that.
Yeah, I think most people are, we were too, so. As a hatchery system, you know, we all of a sudden hear about, oh, they're talking about a marine hatchery.
Well, we lose that.
We'd be like, okay, so we were sitting there like, wouldn't you come to us to get the ball rolling on hatcheries, you know, and then all of a sudden outreach came to us and said that they got the funding to build an aquarium in Lake Charles. So what I believe is they moved that money to be an aquarium for kids, and it's gonna have touch tanks and stuff about the hatcheries there and our inland water bodies. Kind of more of an education center.
And where's that could be located, when's it gonna open?
So it'll be in Lake Charles, I don't know exactly where. But I think they're moving tanks in right now. Yeah, they're getting fish in the tanks, like we sent our haul truck out.
No money for a bridge, but they got money for that.
Yeah. So. Anyways, we have 4 hatcheries. Booker Fowler is our sport fish hub. That's where we hold all the Florida largemouth bass brood stock. We do crappie, red ear, bluegill. Pretty much everything comes out of there. And then Beechwood is the oldest fish hatchery in the state. It's like 3 miles down the road.
From Brookville?
Yeah. It's the earthen ponds.
Does it include the ones up Fish Hatchery Road too? The ones
Yep,
at the
so
end of
that's
Martin
part of
Springs?
Beechwood as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, so, yeah, as you can see, so we have 65 ponds at Booker, 54 acres of water. Beechwood, 39, 43 water acres. Monroe's small. Huey P. Long's really small. We kind of do our phase 2 largemouth bass grow out, so that's going to be 6 inches and more. But yeah, so compared to a lot of other states, we have, you know, pretty big hatcheries. We just went to the aquaculture meeting in Arkansas. I mean, take Texas out of it, we're looking really good. You know, Booker Fowler is a pretty state-of-the-art hatchery. You know, I feel blessed to be able to work there. But just seeing some of those other hatcheries from the other states, man, they are in poor condition. So, yeah, and they're line ponds as well. Booker Fowler's all line ponds. It's not earthen ponds. Yeah, there you go. So this is Booker Fowler. You can see all the line ponds. There's pros and cons to earthen versus line ponds. I think earthen ponds, you're going to get bigger fish faster. That's just primarily because of the food source. But line ponds, look, our grow out for our Florida largemouth bass is like 6 weeks tops. We can get them to 2 inches in 6 weeks, and we're moving them out. Line ponds are also, you know, they're very similar in size. We can keep them so they're not, you know, predating on each other, because we have to keep them 2 days apart. If they're more than 2 days apart, they will eat each other from that big. So impressive.
So if they hatch 2 days or less apart, they don't eat each other?
Yeah, they're about the same size, so
They won't.
there won't be as much predation going on. But I mean, you'll still see it. We bring them in. It's kind of a stress response in largemouth bass. They'll eat each other once they get stressed. So water quality gets bad, they'll start nailing each other. We bring them down in the kettles, oxygen starts to get low, they just start hammering each other. It's a wild thing. So we'll bring them in and start separating, getting counts, and oh, this one's eating its brother. And
So good pressure.
Yeah, yeah, they do it too. This is Beechwood, so this is just down the road. That's not our ponds over here, but all these ponds are the earthen ponds here. And then we have some more line ponds right here, this row. And then down here's some earthen ponds as well.
Those other ponds up at the top, that's the ones we go up the hill, we're going back out to 165.
Yes,
Mhm.
yep.
So who do those ponds belong to?
Yeah, who they call?
So this is just a nursery.
Oh, that's a nursery.
Yeah.
It's not a pond. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, now.
And that's Fish Hatchery Road that goes.
Yeah, this
to the
is
right.
fish hatchery.
And this is Booker Fowler.
And the difference too here is the water quality is so much different. So we're pulling out of Indian Creek itself here, where Booker Fowler's pulling out of Indian Creek Reservoir. The water here is crystal clear, and you just don't get the zooplankton that you're looking for, where Booker's pulling straight from the reservoir. We're getting all the plankton. We can get our blooms right, so when those fry go in, they have everything to eat. So,
Do you ever think about lining the ponds to improve the hardness and productivity?
yeah, so we do some of that. We actually put in gypsum, which actually we're getting away from gypsum and doing calcium chloride. So that'll bring the hardness up. So the problem is we have a hardness problem, it being too low. So we're running like 16. Yeah. And anything productives, the low end of productive is 20. And we were struggling on getting there. So this year, you know, we went to the aquaculture meeting, heard from Florida, they calcium chloride. So we tried it. Way better, way easier. So yeah, we're kind of doing that.
Now, what, with that number 16 and 20, what is that?
So that's a hardness in the water itself. So the fish develop a lot better. There'll be deformities if the hardness is too low, just the way they develop. Especially we do hybrid striped bass. They're supposed to be over 50. So we were never able to do that.
Million instead of parts.
Yeah, parts per million. Yep.
Parts per million of
Oh,
calcium.
milligrams per liter.
Yeah.
Or
Parts per
calcium.
million of
Calcium.
Calcium.
And so
Yeah.
luckily this year, our hybrids, we were able to get over 50 for the first time that I know of.
Wow.
So we've had better return. The fish are looking great, less deformities. But yeah. And then this is our Monroe fish hatchery, pretty small. We're actually in the process of transitioning this to our northern largemouth bass fish hatchery. So we're getting more requests for northerns. We got to be careful with the way genetics are coming about. So one thing we're kind of talking about is we think northern genetics are just northern genetics, but genetics are getting so detailed now and they can test so many different alleles that I don't want to saturate this basin's northern fish and put all of their fingerlings up in North Monroe, where when we got them down south in a whole different basin. So I think we gotta look into that a little deeper on how deep they're gonna get in genetics. And while we've already put Florida largemouth bass everywhere, I think the northern, keeping those specific genetics is gonna become important.
You say northern, that's the natives?
Yeah, natives, yep.
But there's certain ways that Northern's actually be better than Florida's.
In Louisiana, I would say no. Once you start getting up Oklahoma, Kentucky, in the northern, you start getting up higher in the latitudes. Definitely.
Now, will the Floridas replace the Northerns if you put them both in the same lake?
They can, but most likely they're gonna hybridize. And so that's what we're doing. And those F1s get huge. And so American sport fish that I was talking about earlier, they will send out F1 fingerlings and pure Floridas. To me, the F1 is kind of a watered down because they're gonna hybridize already. So they're gonna get with those natives, the northerns, hybridize, you're gonna get a giant bass. And the Floridas get giant too, anything pretty much over 8 pounds. You can almost assume that there's gonna be some Florida influence within those genes. And now it's getting even more specific too, to specific parts of Florida. So we do have some genetics that have been tested from Toledo that are showing the specific area of Florida. And so we contacted Florida and they said, come get them. So hopefully we can start getting those genes out as well. This is the Huey P. Long down in Lacombe. Again, these are really small ponds. We send probably about 20,000 fingerlings, throw them out to be phase 2 fingerlings, 6 inches, and we'll stock below I-10 for the most part.
Are you a call right there?
I believe so, yeah.
That's why you're catching so many bass and by your call. I'll stop and some of those in there.
Yep, so there's anyways, what do our hatcheries do? So we support inland fisheries management objectives. So we produce and stock healthy sport fish fingerlings, operate and maintain fish hatcheries and associated equipment, and serve as LDWF liaison with other fish production facilities. That's going to be our Fish and Wildlife Service, the American Sport Fish, our private companies. Support aquatic outreach and education objectives. So we support native fish in the classroom. Have you all ever heard about that? The paddlefish that we do? So every year we do the paddlefish spawn. So we have classrooms come in. We'll have hundreds of kids come out and we will get the females about 2 weeks, males and females, about 2 weeks early, keep them in our hatchery ponds. Then we bring them in, we hit them with some hormone. And then when the classrooms come, it's almost perfect timing and we can make an incision. We squeeze all of the eggs out and then we let the kids mix them up with the milt. Pretty cool thing. I mean, hundreds of kids, big thing at our hatchery. So if any of y'all are ever interested in coming out to see that, we do that in early March. The first week of March.
Pretty much like Refuge Parish or Central Louisiana Schools.
Yep. Yep, and we take volunteers and stuff to come out and help with the whole thing. It's a pretty big event. The National Hunting and Fishing Day that I was talking about earlier, so we're there. We do actually quite a bit more than what I thought a hatchery would do to get that going. But we do tours and educate the public about aquaculture and resource management and provide technical information to pond owners. And then we support outside agency fisheries activities that benefit the general public. So we provide transportation for the U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Fort Polk, and then just some other organizations. But we do partner with the Natchitoches Fish Hatchery. So I just finished up there 2 weeks ago and we go there and actually it's our broodstock fry. We'll send them a bunch and that's almost all of Toledo's request. So we have a little partnership with them to use some pond space.
So they primarily stock Toledo exclusively from that hatchery.
Pretty much, just because Toledo's request is a couple 100,000. So if we didn't have Natchitoches, we'd have to double crop. And we probably wouldn't be able to produce our 2-inch fingerlings. It'd probably be 1 1/4, 1 1/2.
Which fisheries do the paddlefish program?
What's that?
Which fisheries do the paddlefish program?
So that's outreach, who does the paddlefish program. But it's kind of, yeah, Sean, it's kind of a big, everybody's on board. So Sean and his district will be the ones collecting the paddlefish. Outreach kind of gets the schools ready. And then the hatcheries does the whole spawning process.
It used to be 1 million years ago, there were a whole bunch of paddlefish out on Cowboy Lake. On the in that spillway. It's still there.
And we get these from Calcasieu. So,
Lake Shark.
yeah. So. Yeah, so and then this is our kind of our stocking schedule. So winter, we plan and coordinate the coming year's crop, purchase supplies, configure ponds and equipment for spring. Winter is actually pretty busy because we're trying to get all of our supplies for the bass spawning season and the paddlefish. And then the spring, we do the spawn and grow out black and white crappie, Florida largemouth bass, northern largemouth bass, hybrid striped bass, paddlefish, red ear, bluegill, threadfin. I would like to note that the black and white crappie used to be a fall species, but we tried something new that we heard about, and that's spawning them just like we spawn the Floridas in our raceways. So we put them in the raceways, put down the bass nests, and turns out that they spawn just like bass. Their eggs are just almost impossible to see, but so now we can put those in ponds and we'll have a more uniform grow out to where we were just pond spawning before. So it'd just be brood stock. And when we took it down, that's what we had. Now we can actually get numbers. And
Black and whites both.
we'll keep them in different ponds, but they spawn the same. I mean, it's pretty cool actually. So it's kind of new, something new that's happening in aquaculture, and we're on board. So late spring, early summer, we spawn channel catfish. We begin harvesting and stocking 2-inch Florida largemouth bass, stock hybrid striped bass, and then we move the Florida largemouth bass brood stock back to their holding ponds until the following year. Summer, we are growing out our fall species. So these are kind of the pond spawn species. We got our bluegill, red ear, crappie, except hopefully we're transitioning from the crappie. And we manage, monitor, and feed the brood stock and pretty much repair everything we broke through the spawning season. So, and then fall, we harvest and stock the fall crop, catfish, bluegill, red ear, threadfin, and then the phase 2 fingerlings, and then the crappie.
What do you do with the shad? Is that just for,
So if there's like a new water body or something's coming out of a drawdown, they'll request
Yeah.
that. It's not as common. I think since I've been here, we've done it twice. Not a huge request on our part, but we still have to, during the winter, that's part of the coming up with the allocation for ponds. So, and then this is just kind of the Florida largemouth bass production. So this is the nest I was talking about. Have you all been out to the hatchery at all? So you've seen the raceways and, okay. So these are the nests. That's what the eggs look like on the nest. This is probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. They already went from eggs to 2-inch fingerlings. And then we're off stocking across the state. So we don't really see our technicians in the spring much. They're there to harvest and they're gone until we see them in the morning. And then this is the channel catfish, so quite a bit different. We start them later. They like the water to be warm. Pretty much when the water temp hits 75, we start putting barrels in. So we actually have barrels in our ponds with the brood stock. They'll go in the barrels, lay their massive eggs. We bring them out. We have to do this little decanting with the solution we have that separates that, I guess, tackiness that keeps the eggs together. And then we have to roll them in McDonald jars. So that rolling constantly keeps oxygen going, much like the male catfish would do in the wild with its tail. So yeah, that's pretty much our catfish. And then we stock them out in the fall. So we're raising a bunch. We actually had an awesome year this year. So we have probably more than we need. So, and this is that native fish in the classroom I was telling you about. So these are all the students. They're mixing up the eggs with the milk that we got from the brood stock, and we'll do them the same as the catfish. So we'll put them in the McDonald jars, let the eggs roll, they'll hatch out, swim out, we'll get a count. And then we don't take them out to the ponds, we'll just raise them in our troughs. And then the classrooms actually take them, so we have several classrooms across the state, and they try to raise them up in their classrooms until the kids leave that year. Cool. So this is the 2023 fish stocked in Louisiana. This is just from our hatcheries. So for largemouth bass, we did almost 3.5 million. Red ear, 144,000, bluegill, almost 300,000, channel catfish, 36,000. White crappie, 5,000, black crappie, 34. And then the F1s is what came from American sport fish. And then our northerns. So total, so that's gonna be your Florida Northern Cross.
Okay.
So we don't do that. That's gonna be the American sport fish private.
So is there a higher demand for black crappie than is white?
Yeah, so that was actually, yeah, that was, Bussy. So Bussy Break was requesting, for the most part, the black crappie.
So F1 is first billion?
Yes,
Okay.
so that's gonna be your
I thought it was
first
like
cross.
a.
Yeah,
F-150.
nothing special. No, nothing special.
Okay,
It's just
okay.
that first cross.
Okay.
So,
When
Yeah.
do you start, all those, big ear?
Yeah. Not that he really wants to know.
Yeah, I wanna know.
trying to think, I know Bussy probably got some, Calcasieu, I'd imagine, maybe Spanish. A lot of,
Actually,
yeah,
oh,
I believe. I'd have to go back and look at our stocking requests.
Do y'all publish that anywhere?
Yeah, so we do a fiscal, I'll be working on that, that's why I don't have the 2024, because I'm literally,
Yeah.
we just finished up last week, the fiscal ends at the end of the month, so I'll be working on the,
So like if
Annual
Catch wants
report.
to see where you stocked 50,000 red ears, he can go on there and look.
Yeah,
the
that should be
website.
on the LDWF once
Yeah.
we get that fiscal.
Only
year.
Catch would be interested in that,
Yeah.
not the rest of us.
Yeah, but in total, I mean, over 4 million fish stocked. So 72 water bodies were stocked by inland hatcheries for the purpose of sport fish enhancement, 2023, and it's about the same. I think we might have done a little more water bodies this year, so it's always in that ballpark.
Is y'all stocking limited to public waters or is it also private?
Public waters. But again, we have a lot of people with private water bodies that come in and will kind of facilitate the private hatcheries that they can purchase fish from, or if they have any questions about their pond management, we can answer that for them.
So they can't purchase fish from you.
No, yep, so we're primarily public. This is just a little map of all the water bodies we stock, so you can see we go from way down south to all the way up north, so.
What do you put in Calcasieu Lake?
Calcasieu is gonna get some Floridas, quite well, Calcasieu might be getting a red ear too. So,
Oh, have no, oh, your power point crashed, just a second. Okay, let's start over here.
uh-oh.
There we go.
It's an old MacBook, so.
Yeah, so this is our fish production partner, so we partner with the city of Shreveport, the Cross Lake Fish Hatchery. Have any of you all been up to the Cross Lake? Cross Lake Fish Hatchery, tiny ponds, like. I don't even know if they're a quarter of an acre, but we'll send them some bass, they'll stock Cross Lake for us. As I mentioned, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Natchitoches National Fish Hatchery. There's us, Rockefeller, we send some fry and they'll grow out to fingerling and stock the refuge down there. Red River Waterway, that's who purchases the American sport fish bass, and we are the we kind of facilitate those stockings. Toledo Bend Lake Association, again, they kind of go through American sport fish for the most part. But again, we stock well over 200,000 from our hatcheries there, so. And then other states as well. So we gave Tennessee some of our old brood stock that we were retiring. And so, you know, we kind of help each other. We went to Mississippi to get catfish. We couldn't raise enough. So we kind of help each other out in the Southeast that way. And then a little summary. So recreational fisheries are economically, culturally, and ecologically important. Even people who don't fish benefit from good, healthy fisheries. Managing fisheries is important. Hatcheries play an important role in fisheries management and in the education of the public. Inland fisheries district crews continuously sample, monitor, and manage inland fisheries in their districts and request sport fish for their district water bodies. And then partnerships and collaborations are essential to meet statewide fish stocking needs.
In past, certain lakes like Coteau Lake where I live, have been stopped like every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah,
Are y'all continuing that pattern?
so that's based on the inland districts. So if they see fit that when they go do their sampling on that water body, if they think they need more, you know, if their bass, they didn't shock up the amount of bass that was previous years or what their quota is, then that's when they come to us requesting for X amount of bass based on the acreage of that water body.
So you don't assess stocking needs, you take the request from them.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep, so that's their jobs, and then
Yeah.
we pretty much just that we're at their mercy. Yeah,
Fish.
yeah, we're at their mercy, so whatever they say, we're gonna produce.
How long does it take a Florida bass to go from that fingerling to 14 inches?
Could be,
Say
it could be
into
just a year, honestly.
A year?
So most of them hit 11 inches in their first year. So they're sexually mature at 11 inches. Almost all of our Florida bass will sexually mature in 1 year. So I don't think it's unheard of for one to hit 14 inches their first year. So it's impressive, but northerns are the same now. In Louisiana, just because of the environment, northerns grow fast their first year too. So they really start to separate at that 3 to 5 years is when the Floridas keep going. The northerns kind of plateau, like we all see on the fish graphs, so their growth charts. The northerns, age 5 will start to, and then Floridas will plateau a little bit, but they keep going. And so that's what makes them so unique, is that genetically they grow until they die pretty much. So it's impressive. You know, and there's a lot of word that Floridas are harder to catch. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but that's kind of been an ongoing thing. But there was a study that showed that it's true if there's heavy cold fronts. So you're looking at your more northern states. Tennessee's going to see that way more than we would ever see that being an issue. Our cold fronts are pretty similar to Florida. So
So where do the rainbow trout come from? Where do you get them that are stocked in the ponds?
those come from, trying to think, we just did those stocking reports. They come from, it's an Arkansas hatchery.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so we don't do, we can't hold down, they would die so fast.
Yeah, sure.
That's too hot. Texas holds theirs, but they're pulling out of. What's that big old lake right across the border there?
Sam Ray?
Sam River. So they can pull deep, they can get cooler water to hold them for a little while. We wouldn't be able to do that. But I'm kind of glad I came from trout territory, so it's kind of nice to see something new.
How, do bluegills spawn just once a year or will?
They can spawn up to 3 times a year. Yep.
I've got a question from Flip Saragusa. He's on the Zoom here. He said, what is DWF doing with the paddlefish? I know you mentioned they're going into the classroom, but where are they releasing? If you're releasing any issues with illegal harvest in the past were a concern of DWF?
It used to be, and it still pops up, but we will take them back down to Calcasieu.
So take them back to California, whatever. Yeah.
So the feds have that pretty tight on genetics. So we can't just put them where they go, pretty much right back to where we caught the parents.
Could you hear that, Flip?
I did, Bill. In fact, if you ask him, so they're not doing anything in the basin?
Nothing in the basin.
No.
No.
They used to be protected.
Yes. I believe they're not listed. Yeah, I don't think they're listed. But there are still regulations on their harvest.
So are the paddlefish in our reservoirs or in river systems or?
Majority's in the river systems. I mean, they have them in Toledo
I think my grandson called one Selene.
yeah, I mean, they can get in. Definitely not impossible, but for the most part, we're looking at the river systems. The Natchitoches National Fish Hatchery, they'll pull theirs from the Red River. So they have their own kind of strain that they deal with. And they're kind of just getting into it. And so we'll help them out when they need. Their spawn goes a little later than ours. So we can get ours done and then assist them with whatever they need.
So are the spawns ordinarily, are they controlled more by water temperature or photo period?
I think theirs is water temperature, because we're pretty specific on the time of year. Also, I think the flow has some to do with it as well. So during the drought, not a lot of flow. We had they weren't right. So last year they went really well. The year before, 23, they weren't right. They weren't ready. This year, actually, we had a couple that were spent, so they already spawned. So just a difference in the environment.
It doesn't make any sense to make baby fish that are gonna die.
Yeah.
I noticed that in stocking numbers, you didn't have striped bass, striped bass.
So we do this year. Last year we didn't because of the drought, so we couldn't. We started a little late.
Wipers or striped?
Hybrid striped bass. So the sunshine. Forget what cross that is. I think it's the female stripe with the.
So where would you be stocking those at?
So those go. Spanish, I think also. Trying to think of the one over by Faraday. It's that little horseshoe coming off Concordia. Concordia gets them. I think we stock like 6 water bodies.
Claiborne?
Claiborne probably does, I believe so.
Yeah. In
So-
Falls River,
Falls River,
okay,
thanks.
I know where they have.
Yeah.
I wondered if we were stocking them. 'Cause it
Yeah.
seems like we were, you know, if there was something that happened a long time ago, we would put some in. Since they reproduce naturally,
Right,
how do they continue?
right, yeah, we
to
stock them and
Numbers.
a lot of the public doesn't love it, but
Yeah,
what's that?
Indian Creek and catch them schooling out there with bad schooling fall.
Yeah, so.
They're escapees. I think.
That's,
Yeah, they
that's our
escaped.
bad,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's y'all's that slipped.
Yeah, those are the ones who go down the drain.
Asked Christie that a couple years ago, said, oh, they slipped through the drain. Well, let a bunch more slip.
Yeah, they do it. They do it. I think Indian Creek might be the
Concordia,
most stocked water body in the states.
In Concordia where Red Stick does their trip. every year.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause I saw some lifers caught there.
The members have state records from that league.
Hmm.
Started at
666.
666 years old. My wife won 8-3.
Yeah, I know some of the public's not a big fan of it when we show up, but. I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They are.
they were great.
I know in Utah, they stock them like crazy, the wipers, and they get massive in Flaming Gorge.
In
Like
North
that.
Carolina, there's 3 lakes, one of my son fishes, like that on his kayak. And they have, wipers there. And Lake Jordan, Kerr Lake and Bird, but anyway. It's amazing, we see those bass, striped
Yeah.
bass on there, and he'll go out there and use fly rod and catch them, and he'll hook one and then his kayak.
Yeah.
Take a rod.
Why do people not like them? I mean, if there's tastes like white bass cleaned correctly, they're good.
Well,
really good
so-
to eat, so.
They're worried that they're gonna prey on all the other species.
When you lose in, so everybody's good to eat, don't have to worry.
Yeah, I think there are. Girls.
Yeah.
You know, our districts go and survey, you know, the crappie population's good. Your sunfish species are good, then I don't think they're probably doing much.
We don't put that many in there anyway.
Right, no, it's not.
So just out of curiosity, is our life, you know, the lifespan on them? Because if they're not reproducing, then
I think they can go over 15 years. I think they just actually,
Wow.
they just caught one. It was just in the news, I thought. Maybe not, maybe it just came through our email, I don't know. It was somewhere, and it was a like 14, 15-year-old. But I mean, bass can grow up to, like, they 20 years old, so.
oh, it's the kind of thing that they, I mean, your escapees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many years
they'll-
they
they'll-
So we're
escape?
still doing
They
it too,
escape,
so.
that's why I was wondering. when
They're
it's
still
gonna- when they
escaping.
take off.
Yeah,
So that means there's more of them on your end of the lake than the other. end.
yeah, probably, yeah, go to the outflow,
Yeah, go to the
go to the
outflow.
hatchery outflow.
Cool.
Well, this is great stuff.
good stuff, yeah, I mean,
Uh,
really.
Any other questions?
I've got a comment, and it's not, you may have heard of, you ever heard of banding fish? It was on, I don't
Band.
know, it was on trash book, but it was smallmouth, there's somewhere up north, they would put the band like we do a bird band, to the upper mantle.
Okay,
Like a reward band, it had a number, and I guess that's how they were tracked. I'd never seen it.
it makes sense, I could see it working, I know we tag fish,
Yeah, but this is a big metal band like a bird band.
that's.
Do that triple tail.
It'd be kind of interested to see how that would affect their,
Eat.
yeah, their life.
I have one question on Red River. Y'all do anything with Red River or managing it?
Yeah, so the districts still manage Red River. So the districts still go out and shock the Red River. They do habitat management on the Red River.
But you don't stop Red River.
So American Sportfish does. Quite a few, so it's like I think around 20,000. Yeah, at each pool. Pools.
Now, do they usually stock the main river or oxbows off What do they usually?
It depends. So the districts will go out and look for suitable habitat before we even get there.
Yeah.
So a couple days prior, they'll go out and kind of look for suitable habitat that they can put these fish. And then we'll load them onto their boats and they'll take them out. That could be oxbows. Sometimes it's in the main river, just across the way where there's vegetation. Because the vegetation has been a problem out there. And so,
Complex.
yeah, we stock Colfax. But yeah, we stock it. Well, we don't, but we
Yeah.
kind of
Facilitate
the
it.
liaison.
Their fish are healthy, that they.
Yeah, and we make sure we're getting the numbers that the Red River's paying for, the right species. But so far, we've got a great relationship with American Sportfish, so we're hoping that continues because it's good. We take fin clips and get them genetically tested as well from those fish. So we'll do random. It's about 60. Depending on the pool, we randomize it, but it's usually around 60 fin clips from Northerns and Floridas, or the F1s and Floridas, to make sure they're getting the genetics they're paying for as well.
Now, where do you send those?
They send those to Auburn.
Hmm.
So Auburn's pretty good.
Yeah.
When it comes to aquaculture and genetics, Auburn's.
So they're like a clearinghouse on the tags, right? Auburn, it's.
Auburn, yeah, and Auburn, I mean, pretty much invented sport fish aquaculture. So.
Where is Auburn?
Alabama.
Okay, all right, I know there's another one, yeah.
Yep, so, yeah, I just learned about that through, college, that Auburn started in the Great Depression, the sport fish aquaculture, and so we're really not that far out, we're still learning. And so I was tracking moose, that was my last job.
He was involved with ASCS, and he used to go out and buy some fawn ponds, land ocean ponds.
Yeah,
A lot of, he'd go to Auburn University.
Auburn's big.
Did workshops over there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that they did some of the initial studies in ponds as far as growth.
Yeah, and we're doing studies now, it's pretty new, really, and I was tracking moose in Utah. But I really wanted to get into the fishery side just because fisheries is just changing so fast, big game. You got disease, it's your big, but fisheries is you got the environment, you got especially aquaculture. We're still learning, finding stuff out. We're sharing information to other hatcheries that their minds are blown, and it's just simple everyday tasks for us. So it's pretty cool. We're all learning, and everyone does it different, but we're all so.
It's money in fish.
Yeah. Not for the
Yeah.
state, but.
Well, we'll find out next month. That's probably what I'll be talking about when I begin my presentation. on
Lots of money
podcast.
in fish.